started the Maimer. Page Kofa and Zain, we started the Maimer again. So we're up to the bottom of page Kofa and Zain, in the middle of explaining the concept of Hashem Agdullah, the Ma'aser Bereishis. But in the the Maimer talks about Yerushalayim. The Chazal say, Anetzer has been in Yerushalayim. But in order to get to that point, it starts what it says earlier. Agdullah, Agdullah, Tiferes. Agdullah is the Ma'aser Bereishis. So he's expanding the concept that Gdula is a Ma'aser Bereishis. What's Gdula? Gdula means that there is a big one second. Gdula means the greatness, the abundance of Nivoim that that's the Nivoim Kamara Masech Marat Marat Masech. Then he says in the bottom the Shor Mescheles Hu Ashpaz, which is on 10 lines on the bottom. Vazeksiv Lachore Agdula. This is Mark. Those Ma'aser Bereishis Koyal the Savas Elos Nivoim. Shezeu is part of the losses Bachad and Kates. So this Madrega of Gdula, which is an expression of the Eibishter's greatness, that he can create Nivoim Ad and Kates. Who Tofel Bottle Loch. Shebe'ein Arech L'gabe Atzmis. This Gdula is really, it's really not an it's not the ultimate expression of Atzmis Fakert. It's bottle with Tofeloch. It's insignificant. It's bottle. It doesn't have any value. This creation that we call Gedula, that to us it's an expression of Gedula, of the Eibishter's greatness. Really, from his perspective, it's bottle. Doesn't have any value. It doesn't have value. It's like Kamoya Ha'ora Ba'almi. It's like a mere radiation, a mere very chisanistic expression. That's a nupshat in Emasai Godel Shubel Lekenu. When do we call him Godel? When is that Gedula expressed only Be'el Lekenu, which is really a Yerida, when he is lowering himself to the state of Ir Lekenu, which is Dibo, like I said earlier, Ir Lekenu is Elam Dibo. And Dibo, just like a Dibo of a person, is insignificant compared to his inner nefesh, so his etzema nefesh, to his personality. Same thing. The Lamaila, the Gdula is only, it's bottle. It's insignificant. So this Gdula, the Gdula of Ma'aser Bereishis is really that's it's tough. It's insignificant. No, the Eibishter himself is that's ein cheka. That is not something that's expressed in creation. That's much higher. Ein cheka. It's something we cannot reach. We cannot comprehend or grasp. So this concept that it's bottled with tofeloch, and it's really insignificant. Similar pasuk says imcha mekarchaim, but it says in Tehillim imcha mekarchaim b'eichan Yireh. It's a pshat the makar chai sheba'ilam, which is makar chaim. I know the kish is makar la'ilam, but what is ba'ilam is imcha v'tofel ubotloch. Imcha means like lacha. Imcha means it's something which is tough, but it's insignificant and it doesn't have any. It's null. It's null. Adarabe is, and that's another Chazal that explains that point. B'mokem Gdulasav Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shama Tamatzan Vasanusei. So the Gemara says that the Eibishter's greatness is the same madrega as his humility. What does humility mean? The idea that Eibishter creates a world is really a nova v'shtifus, v'yirida. It's a descent. It's a humility. It's an act of the opposite of his honor. So that's Gdula. Then he brings in another discussion what we learned in the past. Another discussion, the famous, the way it says in Chassidus and other places, that it says in Pasuk Chavei Gdula v'Gvura Tiferet Netzach Ba'oid. Now we in our language in the Chassidus, which is based on the regular and the Kabbalah Arizal, they always say Chesed Gvura Tiferet, not Gdula. So there's all Maimon in Chassidus that Maimon the Alter Rebbe that says La'oven Enin Am Kobonim Arishonim or Yikerim LeGdula Am Kobonim Achronim Chesed. There's a difference really between Gdula. That's the first midah, which we usually call it Chesed, which means kindness, expression. So that midah has two names. So it said, so what does it say in other pshat? The reason that sometimes it's called Gdula and Chesed. It's by Makam Acher, and that Mayim the Alter Rebbe talks about it. Achilum Chesed Gdula, the Chesed is Zot. Chesed is Chesed is Zot. Chesed is Anpin. It's one of the 10 spheres of Hatzilus. So Gdula, Rav Chesed Anpin. So according to that view, Gdula is something more than what we just said. So the truth is, Gam Emes Gam Al Zayim L'Chavei Gdula. Kol Pchinas Gdula, Afilu Chesed Anpin, Gam Ken L'Chot Tofel U'Batlach. It's also Tofel U'Batlach. One second. Sorry, I don't know what's going on over here. Okay. So here he says Moisif, that even according to the Pshat of Gdula, it doesn't mean Stam Chesed. It means Chesed Arachantin, which is a higher level of Chesed. Gam Azay L'Chal Gdula. Afil Chesed Arachantin, Gankan L'Cho. Tov L'Boto Sheh. Be'ein Ha'orich L'Gam Ein Sof. Ma'ach Sha'or Hashem Mokal Le'er V'Seder Shtashkas. So he just takes us a notch higher. Even the Madrig of Gdula, which is Chesed Arachantin, even that state is also Tov L'Boto. Because it's all about. Because Arachantin is also considered Mokal Le'olam. It's like it says in other places, Chassidus, that there's Arachantin and Atik Yomin, two Madrigas and Keser. Atik Yomin, the Pnimis HaKeser, that Madriga Tachtoina Shebematzil, and Arachantin is Roshel and Netzolim, which means it's already the Madriga in the course which relates to Netzolim. So that's all about it. That's Mokal Le'olam Seir Shtash. Kamoi Kain, Mokal Le'olam Shach L'Shtash is Gam Kain Arach L'Gabe Erev Sof. Not sure what this line adds, but like I mentioned, we learned a few times this Maimon, it's a Hanocha. So I don't know how much you can medayik in the Lashon of the Hanocha. Some words here, like we're going to see later also, some words are not so exactly, some meduyik. The point we just made, that the Shaykh L'Shtashas say nothing about himself. That's the just point we said about Rav Chesed, about Gdul. Because of Eisei Pele, so this point we just made, that Keser, that the low madrig of Keser is Tofel U'Batlach, that is Berumas in another expression in Pasuk. Eisei Pele. So what is Eisei Pele? Pele Midas Shebekeser. Pele, the word Pele is Midas Shebekeser. That's what it says in other places. It says in Kabbalah and Chassidus that Keser is considered Pele. What it says something. Mufla, the Lashon Pele is used about Keser, but which madrega is it? It's Midas Shebekeser. So he says, so what does Eisei Pele means? Midas Shebekeser, and it says Asir L'Gabe Himself, Shebein Ha'orich. It's like it says the Lashon in Tanya, Perek Beis, in Agor. It says, Kolam Chachma Sisa, Shechachma Yibchinas Asir. That's what it says about Chachma. But here it says even about Keser. Even Keser, which is Pele, which is Means it's also oisepel. It's nechshavim ka'asiyah. Asiyah koyach ha'maisa is the most external koyach of the person. So that's maramas in the Indian that it's tough, bottle, that's insignificant. Kamaima, another chazal, to another expression to prove the point. Keser Elyon is another expression in Kabbalah. Keser, I think it says something says in Tikkun Zohar. Kisri lo Keser Elyon afal gab the Yitzchak Mitzvach ukuma kodem ilas ilas. Keser Elyon is taka Yitzchak, a pure light, a Mitzvach, a purified light, which means it's a very high level of Gilui. Ukuma kodem ilas ilas. Relative ukum means dark. Relative to ilas, from the perspective of the ilas, it's ukum. So okay, so you just but another source of this concept that the keser is ukum legabe itself. Shalei berach. Madeksiv. There's not brings in another question to that part concept we just made. Madeksiv over goydel elekein. Same pasuk. It's a pasuk in Hazinu. Hashem Eka of Goydel Elekein. What does that mean? That Imam Goydel in Elekein. So from that is mashma that Goydel is above Elekein. So Lichaera, that means the Gedula comes from a higher madrig. Arish Gedula nimshach leLekim. Nimshach Gedula in Beresov. So Lichaera, we see in this source that Goydel Gedula is not stam a low madrega in Elikus, but it's very high. You mamshechet in Elikim. Another, and that gufa, you find another chazal that says similar things. That's from Chazal says of pasuk, igdal nakoyach adne, that the koyach of adne should get a gedula in it. So Chazal say bizman she'isol Oisim Ritzayne Shal Mokem Mesim Koyach Begvura Shal Maila. To Avoida Oisim Ritzayne Shal Mokem Mamshech Gedula in Koyach. Koyach here. And Chazal say it on the posik. Zema Shekos V'ata Igdal Nakoyach. So we see there's from these two expressions of a Goydel Lekein Igdal Nakoyach the Chayera Araya that Gedula relates to Gedula signifies a higher madrega in the Likus, which is nimshach and the lower madrega. So we just say that Gedula is tough bottle. Can be a matter of Gedula, so it's madrega saying so. So the from these two expressions of a Goydel Lekein and what the Igdal know is the Chayim Mashma the Gedula is higher madrega. But MS. So he says, no, that's not the answer. The answer basically is that it's true that the Gedula is higher than the Madrigas below it, which is Elikeinu and Koyach and Adne, but really Gedula is still not the ultimate thing. When we say Igdal no, of Goydel, all this is talking about I know Shachlish Tashto, Gab Atzim says, so Gab Gedula is I know Eichloch. Zel Tafel Batu. Okay, so he has a question and an answer. The question about the chayah from these two expressions is mashma the Gedula is from a higher madrega. He says it's not true, it's higher, but it's still lower than it's still shleberta and stuff itself. That brings another source in Kabbalah also to show that Goydel is not the highest madrega. What does it say? But Ma'oyer Isa. And Sefer Ma'oyer, which we mentioned at various times, the Ma'oyer is really written by Wig McCobel called Nasa Shapira. So it says over there that over Goydel Lekeinu Mash'ema Megadelas L'Zoh. That Goydel Lekeinu means there's the Gedula of Zoh. It comes from Aim, from Bina. Yechayra V'Zoh Yador Da'ayno. Not the chayv, but zoyador and the midas shaykh leilus. So from this lashon, it's also another proof to our point that Gedula is really a lower madrega because godless of Zoh is already Zeir. It's madrega shaykh loyalist. Said earlier that even Archantin shaykh loyalist. Components from all these. So we finished talking about Chavaya Gdula. What do we see from all this, from this entire Arichos? The Gdula, that even we say Gdula, we just said earlier, Gdula is the Maisa Bereishis, and all the other Pirushim of Gdula, it's still Chavaya Gdula. It's not really Tefes Mokum. It's something insignificant. It's not the ultimate expression of the essence of the Eibush. It's a chitzonic expression. It's similar to what we said about the Gedula. So what it says further about Gvur Tiferes, so earlier in what from Chazal, Gvur, Yams, Tiferes, and Matan Torah. So even these two madrigas are also Tofel Batulach. Which is quite a chiddush. She's not going to talk about it in the Maimah because Matan Torah is the Chayur Mamish. The Torah is very high. Still, in this particular Maimah, when he's going to talk further, but Netzach, he wants to show Agdula, Gvur, and Tiferes, they're all Shalei Ber to Netzach. In his Galus and assumption of Maimah, there's a Gdula is Galus of Binas and Netzach. So now, then it's going to the next part of the pasuk. Netzach, that is not like Gdul and Tiferes. It's not bottle with Tafel. Netzach is the ultimate expression of the Etz. So the truth is, we asked the question yesterday. It says the Chag Gdul going to first Netzach. That's why he's going to get to that pasuk later. That in Netzach Guf he's going to talk about a few levels, but he brings in the Chalal that Netzach be'etzem is unlike Gdula Gvur Tiferes. Netzach is not Tafel Batulach. It's not insignificant. It's the expression of the Etz. The Inek is Galz and Sabbath Ma'ila plus Gdula u'b'midas hanetzach. The Ksiv Gam Netzach Yisrael. The Inek Gam Netzach Yisrael Yishakam Einachem Kol Yodam Ul Einachem. The famous pasuk that Shmuel Hanavi told Shaul that the Eibishter was not going to regret his decision to stop his Meluch of Shaul. What is the Lashon? First of all, the Eibishter is called Netzach Yisrael, which in the simple meaning of the word Netzach Lashon Nitzchius. The simple, but that's not the way you shut here. So what does it say? Lo yishaka v'lo yinachim. He's not going to lie. He's not going to regret. Ki lo adam v'lo yinachim. He's not a human being who regrets. So this pasuk needs its own explanation. Why is the Netzach Yisrael not Menachem? Why doesn't he regret? Because he's not Adam. It's true. This is the fact. The Lo Adam. Why is the Netzach Yisrael? In other words, why did he have to say the Eibishter, which is called Netzach Yisrael, is Lo Nochem? He doesn't regret. He doesn't change because Lo Adam. He doesn't have to. He says there's no need to. What is the point of the statement? Ki Lo Adam Lo Nochem. The Midas Hanetzach. So he's going to start discussing Midas Hanetzach. So I put up on the WhatsApp that this entire discussion is really the whole. First of all, we all remember this discussion of Midas Hanetzach from the Maimer of the Mamam of Basar Lagani. We have always spoke Basar Lagani about the meaning of Midas Hanetzach. That Midas Hanetzach, that Tzivus Hashem, that Midas Hanetzach is Negei and Etzem HaNefesh. Then that's based on the Ma'am Tzidkas Pirzoinai in V'mital Rebbe. So I just put up that Ma'am Tzidkas Pirzoinai V'mital Rebbe in Tafresh. It says over there that's a Ma'am. It's printed in Teras Chaim. It's a Ma'am from Tov Kuf Pei Vov. 1 second. We learned also. We learned also about it in our Sefer, whole Maimah on the concept of Midas Hanet. So was it? I don't remember now what it was. So he's going to go into this long discussion about Midas Hanet, Nitzach. So like I mentioned the first time we learned that the Chlal in our day-to-day experience, Natzchanus is considered a negative trait. Person says, "I must win must win." So usually in the standard view, it's not considered a positive thing. When you say somebody has Natzchanus, it's usually a negative trait. But Chassidus talks about it outside. In other words, talks about that there is also a concept of Natzchanus, a positive concept of Natzchanus.
Oh, even today's day, I mean, that's the Nischanos, and you're getting victorious. You know, it is something you're getting over an obstacle, over something that is stopping you from your progress.
Okay, I'm talking about in the regular state. We're not talking about the Avodas Hashem, right? In Avodas Hashem, something else. But I'm saying in day-to-day operation, to say this person has Natzchanus. So usually, when you say Natzchanus, it's a negative expression. That person is not. He's not reasonable. He's not. He lacks humility, etc. So that's why he's not chonus. Usually, it's a negative thing in the regular view. But Chassidus talks about netzach in a positive, from a positive perspective. So it's the first marshal is the oneroim, the midas hanetzach dafka ba'adam godel be'isha ma'ula. That we find the real netzchon is the real drive to win. Not to give in, that's what is the opposite of pshar. Pshar means okay, we have a disagreement, we have altercation, so let's kind of find some kind of pshar. That's means no, I was gonna win all the way. I'm not giving in. That's not chonus. Okay, so you're right. If you put it in words that say Mesiras Nefesh, in Avodas Hashem, in Mesiras Nefesh, there the person doesn't give in. In that context, it's like a positive, but I'm just talking because he's not talking about Avodas Hashem. He's talking about stam. He's talking the way it is in day-to-day life. That he says, Adam Ishama'ul, what is that? Adam God Ishama'ul, we have met netzam. Adam cotton lawyers will be the same. That's any business to be in on the Tavka. Adam God will Ishama'ul, almost not say, but it's sorry for it. Right to be. Again, like I said earlier, the Lashon here is Meichatesa because it's an Anoch. It's not the Lashon, the exact Lashon the Rebbe Rashab wrote. Someone wrote it down, so maybe the words are not exact. But maybe to put it in different words, what he's saying is that the person of principle will fight the principle till the end. Adam Cotton means a person is not as principled. He's a person who's just wants to get by. He doesn't have high drive and principles. But he's a person who says he gets into a fight, a disagreement, so he gives in. He's mevater. Like I said, usually, what is the Lashon? It doesn't stick up for himself. What is the opposite of Natzchanus? Vatonus. Vatonus means a person gives in. So, like, if we're talking the regular relation with Adam al-Chaver, that's the standard understanding of all the Muslims for see this that usually Vatonus that's the higher. That's what the person is expected to do, to be a vater. No, give in. Not, I mean, obviously not in every context, but vatonus is sometimes looked at as more positive than tzachonus. But here, okay, I'm something which is not negay here, but just to crystallize the point he's making. He's making an important point that in a person, maybe that way will make more sense to us. Person is ma'ula, I would call it principled person. For higher standard, he doesn't give in. He's not mevater on principles. He'll fight for it all the way. Mashenken Adam Cotton. So Adam Cotton in this context means a person who is not as principled. He'll be easier to give in.
So, Derech Agav, what happened to the Maimer that the Rebbe wrote himself? Or we don't have it.
And of course, we don't have it. From this usually, it's possible he never wrote it. So some of them he didn't write, and
it's possible he didn't write it. Okay.
I don't have a clear picture. I think in some places I saw something interesting. That the way it used sometimes the maniach is to write it, give it into the Rebbe, and he used that to write his own. I saw it in 2-3 places. Also to the Rebbe Rashab I'm talking about. But in this case, especially Simchas Torah, for some reason he didn't write it. I don't know why.
Thank you.
But it's another interesting thing. Okay, in our experience, the Rebbe never wrote any of his memoirs. That's a different ballgame. In those days, the Rebbe Rashab wrote all of his memoirs. Not all. I mean, probably 90%. But there was a few things memoirs that we only have anochos. It just happens a lot of Simchas Torah memorim. I see in Asamach Vov also the Ma'av Simchas Torah. We only have anocha, but the anocha of Simchas Torah, the anocha of the Friedeker Rebbe wrote. So it's a higher caliber. It's written by the Friedeker Rebbe. Even if the Rebbe Rashab didn't say it, we have to we approach it more obviously more respect. Mashenken hanocha was written by a chassid. I'm not mavakel, but it's hard to be medayek on the shane, especially if the words doesn't make sense. But you will see in a few lines later some words I think. Okay, so first about the raya from Isham, all the Nisha Adam Godel, Adam Kot. I translated as a principled person and a person who is not as principled. That makes sense. But then he brings another mush. And the Melech. Now he goes into start with the king. Okay, that's something obviously that we can't. You see, other God cotton is somebody we can think in our mind. Maybe this person is more principled, less principled. He'll fight all the way. But when it comes to Melech, there's quite a different bashefinish. That whenever Chassidus talks about Melech, it's the ideal concept that a Melech is supposed to be. Now, I don't know if you can point to somebody that we call Melech and say that he did it. So what does he say here about the Melech? That Melech dafka yesh b'nitzach b'dos Melech. So the Melech again, Chassidus, the Melech of Chassidus is not a secular Melech. Chassidus is a person who has this unique. It's more the Melech from not all. Some of the Melech of Tanakh, like Shaul, David. Not a Melech means a person who has unique qualities. So one of his qualities is a person of principle. Isha Ma'ula. So b'meile yesh b'yesh samidas nitzach. What is the lashon here? No, the davka yesh b'nitzach mitzados hamelech. Fiyaz dolosei shaboy, dolosei shaboy. Kol ma shagod liyes yesh b'yesh samidas nitzach. The more godel in the sense, I guess, the greater he is, or maybe the more refined, the more principled he is, the stronger is midas in itself. The need to, the drive to a victory over his enemies. Now the next line, like I said last time, something to me looks like the word is missing. Nitzachon, he says shinui v'nichom. I think it's the opposite. Nitzachon who had a shinui v'nichom. I think that's a nitzachon. That's all along. That's what he's going to say. So the words will make no sense. No, maybe it's a mistake in the. It's a little hard to find this Saviad. You have to find the original this is typed from, because the way it says it makes no sense. And it's which, like I said, it means Heder Shinuyim Nechomin. Kamarka Nimtza Nitzach B'Chol HaMidas Gam B'Rotzen Yesh Nitzachon Tel Gam Atayna Yesh Nitzachon. Shu B'chinas. Again, it says Shinuyim. Makes no sense. Nitzachon is the opposite of Shinuyim.
Maybe it's going at the timing and the Ratzon.
What?
Maybe it's going to Tailing and the Ratzin, it's B'chinas Shinoim.
No, I said Nitzachon Shupin Shinoim. I don't know. Okay, so we'll put this away for a minute. Let's go back. Let's go further. What he's saying again. What I'm saying is not stam because like I mentioned, I wrote in the WhatsApp that this mimer is based on the mimer in the Ras Chaim. And over there it says that Nitzachon is not. He's going to say here further down also. Nitzachon is the opposite of Shinui. Okay, so we finish with that.
Well, what does it mean that Nitzachon is Tailing and not Tailing?
There is, in other words, each midah. Now he says another point. Each midah has nitzachon sheba. There's nitzachon sheba midas, nitzachon sheba ratzon, nitzachon sheba time.
What does that mean?
Well, you know what? I don't know what that means either. because he's going to say later. He's going to maybe from the manim shall we understand what he's saying. Let's see in the nimsh. In all the madrigas v'shtashlus. Again, I'm not even sure. Maybe the word nitzachon is.
What is nitzachon? No.
What
does it mean? Nitzachon shebetayim.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Nitzachon shebetayim means that in each level of your experience, there is nitzachon. Yeah, there is the aspect of it that you want to conquer. You want to overcome everybody that opposes you. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not understanding why it's negay here, and I'm not sure what is this two. I'm sorry, but these two lines. Not. I don't know. I checked already once and I couldn't find anything. I'll try again. This lines, you know, I want to skip from the words "kinitzachon u'pnei shenuyim" until "yesh nitzachon u'pnei shenuyim." This entire sentence sounds something doesn't add up to me at least. I'll try to. I tried already because we learned it once and I didn't understand it. I looked up. I couldn't find anything. Let's go back up to this sentence. From kinitzachon till shenuyim, put it aside in the meantime. The point that we made was that nitzachon is an expression of the godless of the man, right? The greater the person is, the more, like I translated, the more principled he is, the more he has the drive to victory, to overcome his enemy, to overcome his opposition. That's the concept of nitzachon. So, the more important the person is, the stronger that drive is. So, and nitzachon means we just said in the passage. Nitzachon signifies the opposite of regret. What does regret mean? Regret means I have an opinion, and then somebody says, and he argues with me, so I regret. I take back my opinion. That's the opposite of nitzachon. Nitzachon means no. I stick to my guns. I stick to my principle. Nothing will stop me. Right? So nitzachon and nechama is two opposites. That's really what the pasuk says. Netzach is lo enough. Nitzachon means I am going to win, overcome any obstacle. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change. So nitzachon is the opposite of shinur and the opposite of nechama. So what does it mean? The madrega of ishtarshalos, the madrega is lamayl, which is ishtarshalos, which means that madrega in elikus, which relates to our reality, which is kaviyachol. The Eibishter put himself in a way. Put himself means he limited himself in a way that can relate to our experience, and that madrega is past fit the idea of shinuyim and nechumim in ishtarshalos. There is, in other words, there is one way, there's another way, there's change. Ki odom mashenken זה מה שבשטר זה שייך לנכון, זה מה שכוסף גם נצטרך לא ישקר וגם לנוחם כי לא יודם הוא it says the explanation yes before what is לא יודם כי אודם זאת האצילוס because אודם the מדרגה of אודם is זאת האצילוס שוב בחינס יסדר השתרשות that's השתרשות לכן יש בשינויים וניחומים the מדרגה of אודם there is concept of שינויים וניחומים You know, it says actually it says in the pasuk in Bereshit, "Ki nichamti ki asisi." There is a madrega in the Likus which laws itself to our state that there is a concept of nichum in there. Shinui. Not only that, even the madrega of rotzen shalomai in Kesser, which he said earlier. Remember, he said earlier that Kesser is also by now. Kesser. Is also, he says, Rotzen is also Shaykh Shinui. He wants one way, and then there's the way he relates to the world is that the world pushes back, so there's a Shinui. Not only that, so the concept of Shinui, the word Shinui here means, we have to understand, we're talking about a very subtle concept. It doesn't change, but it means that if it's easier to say it in different words. It means he's meshana atzmei, he's metzamtzem atzmei. He fits himself to accommodate the mekabel because he's so the fact that he's relating to us. That's already a shinu. That's already a state of that is affected, so to speak. Because his purpose is. We should be mekabel is oil. So mainly he has to metzamtzem himself in a way that we can relate to him. So that means that there's shinuyim even in tainuk. Shaykh l'shtash. Ava b'atzmos himself. So that is in the madrega of atzmos ki lo yodem. Shom ein shaykh shom shinuyim nechom. Kushkot ani avay l'shenitz. Okay, so what he said here basically is that again, he took it back to what so earlier on the top of the page. He said, "Gdula, Gvur, all these madregas, they're all madregas in the course which relate to Ishtashlus. So that itself is already a shinuk. That means that the Eibishter fits himself to fit the Mekabel. So that can be called shinuk. By the Eibishter commercial atzmik or himself, what he calls the atzmik himself, there's no change because he stays the way he is. Mishom, that's the point that he says. Mishom nimshach midasan netzach, nimshach midasan netzach, gam netzach saleshak. That is the meaning of gam netzach saleshak leinoch. Doesn't mean only. That's why the pasuk uses the word netzach. All the other madregas in the Gilui of Shalamayla, kindness and judgment and mercy and even wisdom. That fact that they're called that all these names, that itself is a sign of, even though it's an Tainuk, that's a sign of that they relate to our elements. Relating means that he's a shenis. It's a certain level of shinui, which means he's affected. He fit himself into, put himself in that position that he should be able to relate to us. Vashengen netzach nitzochen, the midas hanitzach shalamayla, that comes from a place is above any loy shanis, loy inachem. Comes from the fact that he says, what is it? Like we said, what does nitzach mean? Nitzach means a person says, I'm going to win. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to my opinion. If it's an argument in intellectual argument or any other time there is an argument, means I am not giving in. There's no shinui. I'm not giving in. I'm not regretting anything. This is my position. I'm going to get all the way till the end. I'm going to win. So the winning victory expresses that aspect of Gilei HaNefesh, like we said in the Adam Gadol. The Gadlus here is also a sign of how it expresses the essence of the person. So the Mele, so the Nimshul, the Mila, the Madrig of Netzach is an expression of the Etzem, the Atmos itself, which is above any Shinui. That is the point he made. So that's point number one. That midas hanetzach l'mayla is not like all the other midas. All the midas is like tafel of batalach. They're insignificant because they express an aspect of likus, which is shinuim. Shinuim means they relates to elements, relates to shtashmus. I think netzach expresses the essence. That's he goes to win all the way. There's nothing that stops him. Mele. Okay, so that's one point. But then he adds another twist to this all in the marshal. The marshal of the melech, there's another thing other than what he said till now. That the fact is that the melech god, but the greater the melech is, the stronger midas nitzachon is. There's another point. Another thing. The melech based nitzachon milchama. When the melech, when a king is going to war and he wants to win the war. This is a lashon that's also in Basalegani. That the melech is mefazer, gives up, gives away all his treasures. Shiyaka mikol he gives up such high treasures, which is more dear to him, more important to him than anything else he has, all his property, all his possessions. Some treasures that he has that he received from his ancestors. He always kept it hidden because he doesn't want to. It's something a day-to-day operation. He doesn't want to use it. So we find again this is a marshal that we find in that Ma'amad but the truth is we really find it earlier in among the Alter Rebbe also. In that Ma'amad Teres Chaim, Mitter Rebbe really goes into long Arichos to Ma'arich in the Arichos to describe how big the Oitzer is and how much the king gives it up to win a war. Basically means in a personal state, he must win a war, he'll do anything. He'll use this as the most treasured possessions that he has in order to win the war. As I said before, in the regular state of running the country, he's not going to try. What happens is the country is, let's say, gets into a problem. There is it's not enough food or whatever. So for all that's upon him. That's how Chassidus describes that all the other issues that the country has. He's not going to say, okay, there's a deficit. Let's dig into the treasure. It's never going to do it because this treasure is not meant to be used. So Anagas Medina, the Medina is wrong, and the Medina needs things. That's not good. It's not enough of a reason for him to use the prayers. Only when it comes to winning the war, when he wants the netzach, the netzchonas, the need to victory. In that case, he'll use even the most hidden treasures. This is the mashal. What does that mashal mean to us? He says, this concept really, this aspect of midas hanetzach, earlier he spoke of midas hanetzach as an expression of the etzem hanefesh. Here it says there's an oitzer, the expression. See, really, in the end, he's going to say it's a similar concept. What is the name of oitzer? The shach oitzer l'mayla. The mayla is oitzer, mishikosov. The pasuk says that the Eibishter will open for you his good treasure. So there's a concept of oitzer l'mayla. What does it mean? V'hainu, what does it mean? Not Chassidus, obviously. Hainu in soft steam of the whole steam shall mayla shach. Actually, it's a that oitzer that's similar to what we said before. It's the gilui, it's the amshach of that level and likus, which is steam of the whole steam, the most hidden madrigan likus, above that level of oil which is connected to ishtashus. Oil shaykh ishtashus, lo shaykh lisnikoitz. So Dachagav says we must say that oitza means oishalayim ishtashus because any oil that shaykh ishtashus, you cannot call it oitza. He ishtashus in giluim. The concept of Ishtalshus is that in the world of Ishtalshus, the Eibishter is in a state of Gilui. He expresses himself in a way that we can relate to him. So that's Gilui. That's not Oitza. Oitza means a hidden treasure. Oitza from the Sasser Shamayim from the Gilui. That's number one. The Kamoik, and not only that, not only, he says deeper. Not only is the Yashach Lishtashus not called Oitza, even the Yashach Maila Lishtashus, the Moga Lishtashus, from his Chitzayis, so by Nel Mashach Lagil, Gamzelinik Oitza. He brings in a new language here, but we added a few earlier, but it's also similar to what he said when they get to Kesser. The Kesser is stuck, we said earlier, Rav Chesed, stuck Kesser, stuck Arichantin, which is above Ishtalshus, but it's a Mokal Ishtalshus, the Chitzayis. Even that also cannot be called Oitza, because it's not a real Oitza. It's also Mokal Ishtalshus. Well, Oitza, so that is what Oitza means. Again, so the way he explains Oitza here in the Nimshal means the treasure. He's talking about that aspect of a treasure that it's hidden in a way that it cannot be almost reached. It's closed up in a safe, it's impossible to reach. It's in the motion. So what does it mean? The Nimshal Zek Madrega of the Ein Sof, which is above the etzim, above Gil. It's not even a mock of Ishtalshus. So he says, but just like in the Moshel, the king takes that treasure and to use to win a war. It's the same thing in the Mailo Kaviyachol, Midas HaNetzach Shel Mailo. Then that was Mavaz V'Seitzos. That's the Gilui of his most hidden treasures. Okay. All right. So we'll continue tomorrow.
Go ahead.
Yeah.